Apple Inc. is not just a company, it is one of the most transformative forces in modern history. Its products have reshaped how humans communicate, work, learn, create, listen, and think. Its design philosophy has influenced architecture, fashion, art, and engineering. Its marketing has redefined consumer culture. Its ecosystem has created an entirely new digital lifestyle. But behind this global empire lies a human story, one filled with bold ideas, clashing personalities, astonishing failures, and legendary achievements. This is the story of Apple, a tale of rebellion, vision, collapse, rebirth, and world-changing innovation. The Roots of Genius, Jobs and Wozniak, 1950 to 1976. Steve Jobs, the visionary outsider. Steve Jobs was born in 1955 and adopted by Paul and Clara Jobs, who fueled his early passions for electronics and craftsmanship. Growing up in Silicon Valley, young Jobs was surrounded by engineers, hobbyists, and the rapidly expanding world of microchips. Jobs loved creativity, design, and pushing boundaries. He challenged authority and questioned tradition, patterns that would define his leadership style. In high school, he met Steve Wozniak, an electronics prodigy several years older. This meeting sparked one of the most important partnerships in tech history. Steve Wozniak, the engineering prodigy. Steve Wozniak, born in 1950, was a self-taught genius who could design elegant circuits from his head. While Jobs excelled in vision, storytelling, and design intuition, Wozniak excelled in pure engineering brilliance. Wozniak built technology because he loved it. Jobs saw how Wozniak's talent could ignite a revolution. The first product, the Apple I. In 1976, Wozniak created a simple yet revolutionary computer. Jobs immediately knew it could be a commercial product. Along with Ron Wayne, who left the company after 12 days, they founded Apple Computer Company on April 1, 1976. The Apple I was sold as a fully assembled circuit board, a novelty in an era when hobbyists bought bags of parts. Jobs sold his van, Wozniak sold his calculator. They had no money, only ideas. The Apple II and the first tech revolution, 1977 to 1980. Creating a consumer product. Wozniak's next creation, the Apple II, became one of the first mass-market personal computers. It featured color graphics, expansion slots, and a plastic case, revolutionary for its time. This was not merely a hobbyist tool, it was a machine anyone could use. Apple goes public. By 1980, Apple became a publicly traded company. Its IPO instantly created hundreds of millionaires, including many early employees. Jobs became a multi-millionaire at age 25. Apple was no longer a garage project. It was a rising force in the computer world. The battle for the future. Macintosh, 1981 to 1985. Discovering the future at Xerox PARC. In 1979, Jobs visited Xerox PARC, a research center developing groundbreaking concepts, graphic interfaces, windows, icons, menus, and the mouse. Jobs instantly recognized this as the future of computing. He redirected Apple's resources toward building a consumer version. The Macintosh Revolution. The development of the Macintosh was intense and chaotic. Jobs pushed his team relentlessly, often demanding the impossible. Yet the Macintosh that launched in 1984 was unlike any computer ever released. Mouse-driven interface, graphical icons, intuitive desktop environment, beautiful design, emotional advertising. It marked the beginning of user-friendly computing. The fall of Steve Jobs. Despite its innovation, Macintosh sales were slower than expected. Tension grew between Jobs and Apple CEO John Sculley, whom Jobs had originally recruited. In a dramatic boardroom decision, Jobs was removed from his leadership role. In 1985, he left Apple, the company he had built. Apple's greatest visionary was gone. Decline. Apple without Jobs, 1985 to 1996. confusion and unfocused strategy. Without Jobs, Apple lost clarity. Product lines multiplied, costs increased, innovation weakened. Microsoft caught up and overtook Apple with Windows. PCs became cheaper and more compatible. Apple felt expensive, isolated, and mismanaged. Failed products and internal chaos. Throughout the early 90s, Apple struggled with direction. Newton Message Pad, Macintosh clones, overly complex product families, failed operating systems. Apple was losing money rapidly, near bankruptcy. By 1996, Apple was weeks away from insolvency. Analysts predicted that Apple would be bought by IBM, Sun, or Compaq. But then, in an incredible twist, Apple purchased Next, the company Steve Jobs had created after leaving Apple. And with that acquisition, Jobs returned. The return of Steve Jobs, 1997 to 2001. Cleaning house. Upon returning, Jobs slashed Apple's product line, simplified operations, and focused on design excellence. He famously drew a 2x2 grid. Desktop versus portable, consumer versus professional. These four categories would define Apple's entire lineup. Microsoft partnership. Jobs shocked the world by announcing a partnership with Microsoft, Apple's greatest rival. Bill Gates invested $150 million in Apple and continued Office for Mac. Many fans were outraged, but the move stabilized Apple's finances and ensured software compatibility. The iMac, Apple's rebirth. In 1998, Jobs introduced the iMac G3 designed by Jony Ive. It was colorful, friendly, and futuristic. It abandoned legacy ports in favor of USB. A bold decision. The iMac became a massive hit, signaling Apple's comeback. Digital domination, iPod, iTunes, and the ecosystem, 2001 to 2006. The iPod revolution. In 2001, Apple unveiled the iPod. 1,000 songs in your pocket. The device combined beautiful hardware with seamless software. Within a few years, it became a cultural phenomenon. iTunes Store. In 2003, the iTunes Store changed music forever. Instead of buying albums, consumers could purchase individual songs for 99 cents. Apple negotiated deals with major music labels, a historic feat. The iPod plus iTunes combo turned Apple into the center of the digital music industry. Engineering the ecosystem. Jobs envisioned Apple products working together in harmony. This ecosystem philosophy became Apple's greatest advantage, locking users into a seamless and delightful experience. The revolution of all revolutions. The iPhone, 2007. Genius in 3 devices. At Macworld, 2007, Jobs stood on stage and announced a widescreen iPod, a revolutionary phone, a breakthrough internet communicator. It was one device, the iPhone, reinventing the smartphone. The iPhone eliminated physical keyboards and introduced a multi-touch interface. It included a desktop-class web browser and a new approach to software design. Competitors were stunned. The App Store. In 2008, Apple launched the App Store, enabling developers worldwide to build applications. This move created new industries, millions of jobs, billions in revenue. The iPhone became the most successful consumer product in history. iPad, innovation, and the end of an era, 2010 to 2011. The iPad. In 2010, Apple created a new category with the iPad, a device more immersive than a phone, more casual than a laptop. Critics dismissed it at first, but it became a major product line. The death of Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs died in October 2011 after battling cancer. The world mourned the loss of one of the greatest innovators in history. His legacy would shape technology forever. The Tim Cook era, Apple at its peak, 2011 to present. Operational excellence. Tim Cook, formerly Apple's operations chief, brought stability, efficiency, and global expansion. Under Cook, Apple released Apple Watch, AirPods, Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, Apple Fitness Plus, Apple Arcade. Apple became a powerhouse in services, wearables, and entertainment. Apple Silicon, M1, M2, M3. In 2020, Apple shocked the computer industry by abandoning Intel chips and transitioning to its own processors. Apple Silicon chips delivered performance and efficiency never before seen in consumer laptops. MacBooks became unmatched in battery life and speed. Apple becomes the most valuable company in the world. In just 10 years under Cook, Apple grew from near collapse to the first U.S. company worth $1 trillion, then $2 trillion, and eventually $3 trillion. No other company has achieved such dominance in so many markets. Cultural impact beyond technology. Apple's influence extends far beyond gadgets. Design philosophy, minimalism, simplicity, human-centered design. These principles transformed modern design across industries, marketing, and storytelling. Apple turned advertising into emotional storytelling. Its campaigns, Think Different, Shot on iPhone, Get a Mac, became cultural landmarks, a global lifestyle brand. Apple is not just about technology, it is about identity. Owning an Apple device signifies taste, creativity, modernity, and style. Few companies enjoy this level of emotional connection. The legacy of Apple. Apple's story is one of the greatest in business history. A garage dream, a meteoric rise, a devastating fall, a triumphant return, a global empire. Apple has changed how we communicate, how we listen to music, how we interact with technology, and how design shapes the world. From the Apple II to the Macintosh, from the iPod to the iPhone, from silicon chips to global ecosystems, Apple has redefined modern life. And as long as innovation, creativity, and vision drive the company forward, the world will continue to ask, what will Apple change next? Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. See you in the next video.